Good evening, friends. Thank you for joining us every evening to follow what's happening in India and abroad. And thank you for sending me your useful comments and suggestions. If you believe in this channel, do share it with your friends and spread the message. Our only mission is to bring you the truth and both sides of the story. Thank you for your support. Today, Deepti Pinniti joins us for another session of the SSR diary readings. Welcome, Deepti.
Namaste, Minaji.
Yeah.
Lots happening. I mean,
lots of things happening.
Lot of developments, lot of things happening, and I mean, surprisingly, I mean, shameless is the way the mainstream media and, to astonishingly, some lawyers forget. I mean, we have Sushant's lawyer, ex-lawyer Vikas Singh ji as well,
doing a U-turn.
Come in support of Aryan Khan.
Yeah.
Look at the propaganda.
And Ram Kadam.
I mean, so Ram Kadam and some politicians. I mean,
all on bunk. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's glad. I'm glad that these things are happening. People are coming to see actually how they club and Minaji. One thing I want to tell to the people as well: if Sushant had been alive, let's just go back 1 year, one and a half year. If Sushant was alive and if he had come out and told even 1% of what he has written in the diaries so far that I have covered, okay, immediately some anti-campaign would have started. Like Me Too was blind articles would have followed, and I mean, as he said, he would have been like he's attention seeker. He's not getting movies. That's why he would have been maligned. So I'm not sure if when he was alive and if he would have been able to tell all this to the people, he would have been allowed to.
Yeah.
So because unfortunately, regret is stronger than support during lifetime, than belief during lifetime.
Yes,
so,
exactly. So I'll just give a little bit of the news and then we can start, Deepti.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So friends, look at how low these politicians of the Mahavikas Agadi can stoop to protect the drug cartel, and specifically Bollywood's top people who are involved in this nexus. They first attacked a journalist who stood for the truth, Arnab Goswami, and his team. Now the same modus operandi is being used on Samir Wankre, zonal director of NCB, and his family. While on the one side, public are applauding his fearless spirit and patriotic zeal, Nawab Malik, the minister of Mahavikas Agadi, threatens the officer to watch what happens to him when he retires next year. His menacing message is so similar to what he said about Arnab Goswami that he would soon commit suicide. Now, the police officer who worked at their bidding, Paramveer Singh, is in the same position that Arnab was. Should we also predict what he will do, Nawab Malik? So if you're an officer who decides to clean the drug cartel instead of being felicitated, is now under immense pressure and attack of all sorts. So Nawab Malik is vengeance because your son-in-law was caught with drugs. More deadly than the drug cartel are these kind of politicians. Meanwhile, Shah Rukh Khan was allowed to meet Aryan as COVID-19 protocols were lifted for in-person meetings in jail, as per a peeping moon report. Now, remember, viewers, that this is something that is leaning towards SRK. As per a peeping moon report, they sat across one another at a counter number 12. They were interacting through an intercom with a glass partition between them. Jail authorities were present during the meeting. As per the authorities, they didn't speak to each other for some time. It's believed that after some time, SRK couldn't stop himself from crying. Looking at his distraught father, Aryan too started weeping inconsolably. The jail authorities had to reportedly pacify both of them. Reportedly, Shah Rukh Khan got close to 18 minutes with Aryan. Aryan apparently told his father, "I'm sorry." SRK replied, "I trust you, I'm sorry." SRK then asked him if he had eaten anything. After Aryan said no, SRK asked the jailer if he could be given anything to eat. The jailer told him that it's not allowed without the court's permission. SRK then pleaded with the other inmates to take care of his son. Reportedly, SRK also met the family members of other inmates. SRK is meeting his son in jail and then breaking down reflects emotional roller coaster ride for SRK and his family. There were several silver linings when it seemed like Aryan would be granted bail, but it wasn't to be. With the hearing on October 26, it seems like Aryan will have to remain inside the jail walls. That is not all. According to reports, the NCB today visited SRK's Bandra Bangla Mannat hours after he visited Aryan in jail for any extra electronic devices that Aryan had. It seems that this case is going to last longer, which means more turmoil for SRK and his family. Now, this is a viewpoint by someone who is leaning towards SRK. After the arrest of Shah Rukh Khan's eldest son, Aryan Khan, the NCB has conducted a raid at Chunky Pandey's daughter, Ananya Pandey's home in Mumbai. The video of NCB officials exiting her house has made it to the internet, and one can see that they left with a bag containing phones, laptops, and electronic devices. It seems to be in connection with the Aryan Khan's case, the cruise case, and the WhatsApp messages he shared perhaps with this actress. The star kid was then summoned to the NCB office for further questioning. Her name appeared in Aryan Khan's WhatsApp chats. Earlier, while rejecting Aryan Khan's bail application, the special NDPS court had reportedly cited that the star kid was involved in the illicit drug activities on a regular basis. This again was on the basis of WhatsApp chats submitted by the NCB to the court. Meanwhile, Jacqueline Fernandez was questioned for several hours in the money laundering case. Now here, before I have to add Deepti. Now, before I add Deepti, I'd like to mention to all you viewers, since a few days you've been asking, where is Monica? Well, just to inform you that Monica has joined the zoo animals. You know who they are. This has been well explained by Saffron Tiger. So they are not exactly for the SSR movement. So hence, she is no more in our forum. So I hope the questions will end here. Thank you. Let me just add Deepti. Welcome, Deepti.
Yeah. Hi, Minaj. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, you got.
No, there was some disruption in the network. Not an attack or something, just the usual disruption.
Yes. Yeah. So back to you, Deepti. So we can start.
Yes. Yes, Minaj. There's a lot of chaos out there going on. One more thing, Minaji, I would like to add here that what are these people trying to show us? That, some officer or some agency can catch the son of a superstar who has so much support in the media and in the political circles as well, and keep him in custody for like 2 weeks. And even the court denies to grant him bail. So what does it mean? Yeah. Does that mean that the court is also having a vendetta against the superstar's son? Yeah. Personal vendetta? There might be some incriminating evidences with the NCB. Otherwise, twice the bail wouldn't have been rejected.
Yeah.
So what are these politicians trying to... I don't understand. I think it's... we will all support Modi ji if he picks up a cane or something. I don't know what to say, but he should take stricter measures against these politicians. Let others call him, let others call this as vendetta politics or something. But since people are now getting aware, I just want to pass another message to our Prime Minister that if he decides to take strict measures against any politician, be it any party, we will not be manipulated into believing that it is vendetta politics. Kindly take stricter actions against whatever is happening in Maharashtra. The circus is going on for more than a year now, and people are getting aware and they are now feeling helpless that the Prime Minister is also helpless to interfere and rectify this matter. So kindly, please, Modi ji, uphold our belief in you and please intervene. Whatever is happening in Maharashtra is bringing a very bad name to India.
Yeah. See, here, Deepti, let me just add one more point. I believe it's because of Modi ji that it has come to this stage. That these federal agencies would not have worked in the same manner had the UPA government been in power. Because by then, everybody would have been rescued. Aryan Khan, everybody would have been at home having his favorite hamburger and, Coke. So, in a sense, we have to also thank Modi ji for this, whatever is happening now. He is doing it slowly and carefully.
Yes,
without making it. Yeah.
Now, Minaji, some things are happening actually. Some positive developments are happening.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it takes time. Yes.
And I hope honest officers like Samir Wankde sir receive the support from the center at least, because he is being hounded by the media. He is being hounded for doing his job honestly.
Yeah. But also, Deepti, bear in mind that, before these people came, they were handpicked handpicked. See, for example, a person like Rakesh Asthana in Delhi police, you know, he's been kept there because we know the kind of mess that's happening in Delhi. So even the people who have come in all these federal agencies have been handpicked. So I'm sure Samir Wankade is on the right side of the government.
He needs all the support the
All the
center can give
protection.
him. Yes, all the protection. If people like Kangana Ranawat can get that
That's it.
security, I mean,
Absolutely.
Samir Wankade deserves it 100 times more than her.
Yes.
Okay, so I will continue with the
Please.
reading.
Please. Yes.
Yeah. So now that I am aware of all this, I will make sure I will leave no stone untouched to make the people of my country aware of all this too. And if you, the people of my country, if you have any humanity in you, stand for this cause. You are not doing a favor on anyone by standing for what is right. Because today, if you do not stand up for what is right, tomorrow you will not be given an option to. Are we addicted to slavery? Is my question. First, we were enslaved by the British. Now we are enslaved to this corrupt network, which is making every effort to ensure that we stay where we are and divide us with an controversy around any positive step that has been initiated in the betterment of the country. Great leaders like Manohar Parrikar ji, Sushma Swaraj ji did stand up to show us the path, but now they are gone too. But what is not gone is that idea of unity that they had in their mind, the idea of mass enlightening, the idea of empowerment that they harbored. What is empowerment according to you? Is it the show off that the media is showing us and proclaiming it to be empowerment? Or is it when we all know what is happening around us and are well aware of the complete situation, knowing every detail of it? For me, the latter defines empowerment better. Adanis have had their hands in a lot of activities, and like Ambanis, they too deserve a taste of their own medicine. It's up to us what stand we take. These people have gnawed into our peace of mind, prosperity, and the development of our nation for ages, and are continuing to do it successfully because there are not many who can see through their agenda, and people who actually can are silenced or made villains in the hands of the public. If someone has to be punished for this event before the actual criminals are punished, the first people who need to face the tune of this music and the taste of this medicine are the media, and the chronological order it should follow is as follows. The reason I want to adapt this chronology is because today my country is in a helpless state, despite having a visionary at the helm of things who can do a world of good, and is silently facing all criticism and hatred just because he has a tailor made plan for the betterment of our country. He is having a lot of obstacles on his path. Is because of this very people, and the chronology I would follow is follows. 1. Media. 2. Corrupt politicians. 3. Corrupt officers in the systems. 4. Diplomats. 5. Bureaucrats. 6. Corrupt social servants, doctors, philanthropists. 7. People from the entertainment industry. 8. People from various fields of life who indulge themselves in corrupt and unlawful practices. And finally, 9. These big fishes who are in every walk of life. The reason this chronology I feel will work, and we have to make it work, is because we need to pay back all the pain, the helplessness, the frustration, the suffocation, the emptiness, the loneliness, etc., etc., etc. Each and every pain and feeling these people have given us, we have to ensure we pay it back and make sure these people suffer and get a taste of their own medicine. They should see the people get aware and prosper in front of their eyes before they get to pay back for their sins. If the payback starts before this, then there would be no account of the pain they have inflicted on society and the innocent people in this society. I do not believe in keeping pending dues. I will ensure that when I close each of these people's chapters, I will settle the account books to zero, so that the society which begins to take shape after we achieve our results has all this in front of them as a guideline. and a warning for people who harbor ill feelings or want to think bad about their society. I know it's not an easy task, but yes, nothing is impossible if you try and put your efforts. As science says that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, we need to ensure that this is spelled out loud in our actions. And each of these people who have dominated over us feel the same pain, frustration, helplessness, loneliness, and emptiness, and live every second of their life in confusion and fear. Where is the next expose going to come? And this tension that they go through would be a tribute to all those souls these hooligans have tortured to death. When I start the mining chapter of the Adanis and the way they have manipulated and used a lot of dirty tactics to, number one, ensure that the people, those who are doing the business with the norms of the environmental safety, were troubled and tortured. Number two, employees were overworked in these projects and they never got their deserving dues, giving rise to A. Child labor, B. Poverty, C. Malnutrition. When I open these chapters, if you have a human heart beating inside you, your heart for sure will cry. But we will need to understand, but we all need to understand is that these people have to be exposed in front of the public. And whatever punishment they are due, the punishment should happen under the clutches of law. I understand that you might think I am foolish. Will law cater to this? But according to me, the eyes of the goddess of law is tied in a black cloth, is because she wants us to be her eyes. And if these eyes start speaking the truth without being scared of anything or anyone, and this is only possible when we expose all these people who have been exploiting us from such a long time. Because still, this current setup in the society is not broken, there is every possibility that these people will not do things properly or nor will let others do things properly too. This is the irony of the society now, which has to change and change soon. The Mundra area suffered a lot because of the port and the activities that were happening in the port. And this was an incident which was much more serious than what happened in Mumbai. Acres of villages and mangroves suffered because of the pollution which this port was the main contributor to. And not just this, the ship breaking facility here was one of the prime reasons for the blockage of creeks around the area. The problems had been there for ages together, but it never made it out to the eyes of the authority, as their mouths were sealed with bundles of money. And moreover, the Adanis also ensured that they kept everything around the port area in their control. There are reports that for a long time, many organizations kept raising their voices against this damage of the environment that was happening. And the villagers too were in the fight. But the Adanis carefully manipulated everything and made sure that they planted the people in these movements that were against them to ensure that no voice could raise against them. The people who know about this say that the walls of the port have some dirty stories hidden in them. And these stories are buried in blood too, is what is heard. There have been many such incidents that have happened around the port, which were buried with one reason or the other. And the matters were kept buried, and there was every effort to stop this, and it took too much damage for the action to be taken. There are many stories that the Adanis had everyone concerned in their pockets and shared a cordial relation with the people who mattered to them. This is an entire different chapter that needs to be investigated too. But I am sure there is something in here too. Because when there were so many issues, the issues never made news or never was any action taken. If this has to happen, there is every possibility that there is connection with everyone. Not possibility, but there is for sure some connection. But these connections need logical conclusions too. What you feel doesn't hold good in courts. So it's very important. The connections have to be established. There are ways to get these informations out, and we will try to ensure that we do whatever it takes to lay our hands on these informations. But the people connected to us say it's in the minds of the people, those who have given, and the tongue of the people, those who have taken. So it's difficult to get all the details of these transfers, but there are some informations that can be got, which can help the possibility of this coming good in course. I'm not sure how tangible it is, but yes, the one thing is that the public who has been silently suffering in and around Mundra port, they will find some solace if the unlawful activities that is damaging the environment is stopped. There is nothing wrong in mining or the port, but the way the port is handled is wrong. And there are people and families who have faced, within brackets, continued in the next slide. One correction above, Mundra area, not Mudra area. And there are people and families who have faced the wrath of this rich businessman who still continues to operate the way he is. However, after some questions were raised on him and a case came up, the speed in which the operations were happening have slowed down. But the locals around the area feel this is just for the time being. Unless strict actions are taken on this, there is no way this is going to stop. Now, if you ask me for proof on the matter, I would like to draw your attention towards a report that was submitted in April 2013 by a committee that was set up by the Center for Science and Environment. And this committee was headed by Sunita Narayan, who submitted the report on April 18, 2013. And the report made some harsh revelations, which I think we can lay our hands on. But how we will have to figure it out. But the limited information I have on the report is mentioned below. The report stressed out on the following points. 1. There were incontrovertible evidences that the activities in the port did a lot of damage to mangroves. 2. The shipbreaking facilities were not functioning in accordance to the necessary mandates and safety norms. 3. The discard that was generated from the port was blocking the creeks in the surrounding area. 4. The activities in the port were posing a threat. The activities in the port were posing a threat to ecosystem and environment. 5. The activities in the port also were increasing the pollution in the area. That sad reality is that despite such a report was submitted, the actions that followed the report, you can see it with your own eyes. What do I have to write it down? Our system has become a slave to these people. Unfortunately, not that there is no one who can help get things back on track, but these people and their circles, neither do they do their jobs properly, nor do they let others do their jobs properly too. Now I am sure people will come lashing on me, blind followers of Adani, and yes, he can buy support too. That I am pointing out fingers on Adani just for the sake of publicity. Let me remind all of you here point wise. 1. A ship sank along the coast on Mumbai. When the ship was examined, it was unfit for the journey. 2. A CEO of the Adani group was a director of a company which was responsible for poisoning a river in Zambia. 3. The activities of Mundra port and the adverse effects of the same on environment and ecosystem. Try to analyze, guys. It's not that difficult to digest and get to a logical conclusion. There is no rocket science involved in it. If you want me to add further, then let me go ahead and narrate one incident which led the people around the Mundra area with no means of livelihood. Apart from the report of the committee that I just mentioned, there is talk on the investigation done by Indian authorities, officials, independent committees, documentary film crews, which reveal a record of environmental destruction. And as per one of the reports that was submitted to the Australian government describing how dangerous the businessman Adani was to the health of the Australian ecosystem, his project near the Great Barrier Reef. The report said Adani illegally cleared 75 hectares of protected mangroves, flattened sand dunes, dredged the oceans, and blocked the waterways. The mangroves were cleared to make way for transport and some other structures to be constructed. Neither was this question asked, nor did the Adanis bother to answer. But the impact this had on the public in the area was these activities created a diminished and diseased fish population. Groundwater turned saline. One village was flooded too, when there were no mangroves to hold the waters back. To hold the waters back. And also excessive sand digging caused a lot of damage, which have no accounts to speak of, the volumes. The villagers have their own sorry story to say. The villagers strongly voiced out that Adani bribed authorities and used intimidation to silence anyone who tried to challenge them. But the outcome of this for the locals was catastrophic. The poor villagers who relied heavily on farming and fishing as a source of livelihood were left with barren lands and angry oceans. Fish population declined, and dredging the ocean for sand made the oceans deeper. The Australian report also read a statement given by Mahesh Pandya, an environmentalist from Ahmedabad. Now, who this Mahesh Pandya is, just Google Mahesh Pandya environmentalist. You will get to know about him. His statement read, irreversible and irreparable damage has been done to the Mundra area by the Adani group, and it is difficult to monitor the extent of damage. The mangroves have been destroyed, and it has created an environmental disaster. The fish folk and common people affected by degradation cannot fight such a big company. Now, most of this was included in the report that was submitted to the Australian government as warning signals against Adani. But unfortunately, even this fell on deaf ears. My dear citizens of my country, understand, we are due for a huge disaster, and it is up to us how we want to fight out of it, how we want to fight out of this, or what actions we should take. But the one thing that is for sure is that if we do not act fast, we are in for our doom. This will only get deeper and dirtier with the passage of time, as these people will only get stronger and stronger and stronger, and they will continue what they have been doing. Open your eyes, realize, ask yourself, what wrong have you done for you to bear all this? Understand one thing, the taxes you pay and what is claimed that the taxes you pay goes in as investment in nation building. Are we actually helping in nation building? Try to do some research on this, and you find that each one of these people have heavy loans due to the top banks of the country, and the banks take their own sweet time to recovery. Anil Ambani declared bankruptcy, but do you know he never made a mention of his properties outside India? Now, when you go back and try to take a stock of the standings, you will see that these properties are no longer on his name. I have known people arrested and jailed for small check bounce cases, and these people who owe the banks huge amounts are walking scot free. You have filed for bankruptcy on one of your ventures. Then how are you able to have such a lavish lifestyle? I do not have any problem with your lifestyle. My problem is you have cheated the innocent public and are walking free. I fail to understand, why do we have to bow our heads always? What wrong have we done? If we stand up and roar out, these people will be helpless. This is for ourselves. Common people, understand this. If we stand against these people, we can do this. No doubt, we will have to face some hardships, but few days of pain and lifelong gain. But few days of pain and lifelong gain is much better than staying silent and face this pain for a lifetime. We are not wrong, and yet we are not standing up, is giving the confidence to the people who are wrong to walk with their head held high. Don't you get angry when the minister who came begging for votes from you has no time to listen to your problems but attends the family function of these elite rich? Does your inner mind not ask you, when the traffic police has fined you for not wearing a helmet, but as you are paying the fine, you find a rich brat zoom past you on his Harley with no helmet on the same cop is making you pay the fine is giving him a warm smile, and he raises his hand and wishes back in return. Does it not prick you when you are standing in line for your work to get done? Someone walks in just like that, and he is taken inside from a different door, and he walks out almost instantly and gets his job done. No, do not search for reasons or point fingers on others. We are responsible for this, each and every one of us, because we never fought back. Do it once, just once. Start asking tough questions. Know your laws and rights well. Then see how the situation changes. And trust me, if we all do this together, we can achieve this within no time. It's just the number game that matters. Let's hold each other's hands, and we have to make sure we do this together and stay united till we reach our goal. Meenaji, I want to take a break here.
Yes. Please.
I just wanted to tell something to the people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
See, this is one big lesson that, and one big message that he has passed on, that every one of us should know our rights and our law. Then these lawyers won't be able to take us for right.
Yeah.
Okay, and the legal system will be much better. So
Yes.
it is up to us that, see, we have constitution, we Google all the things under the sun.
Yes.
So it is our responsibility to ensure that we are aware of our laws, we are aware of our rights, because most of us are not.
Yeah.
So yes, I request people to be aware of their rights, because they are living in a country, they are paying taxes, they are the citizens, so they should be aware of what their rights are and what the laws of the country are. Okay, Meenaji, I will continue.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah,
go back
please.
to reading.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, Dharma Port, Odisha. This probably is one of the most controversial chapters in the history of Indian ports. And the name again here that makes it out and shows how cunning these people are. And as I had begun, the chapter might be counted as one of the reasons which can associate the Ambanis and the Adanis, and also speak of the untold stories of the rivalry between the two business magnates. If you need one living and breathing example, rather say standing example for this, then it's the Dharma port located in the Bhadrak district of Odisha state. The Dharma Port Company Limited was formed after an agreement was signed in 1998 with a 50:50 partnership between Larsen and Toubro and Tata Steel. Now I have explained the connection Larsen and Toubro had with Ambani's. There are pages in history which speaks about these chapters, and there are volumes in this chapter which will show how deeply these two families have been eating up our nation like termites. And if we go a little deeper, we will find the connection of the Ambanis with Jyoti Basu, the then Chief Minister of West Bengal, showing how the Ambanis have been faking a lot of things, but deep inside they have good connections with the CPIM as well. These chapters in history never made out in the news, and when I am getting to lay my hands on these during the course of my work, I am totally confused where to start and where to stop. When I go digging on one person, the other name comes up, and when I start working on the other name, thinking that finally I am done with the first one, the first name comes up, confusing me on how do I make notes on it without confusing others who would follow me when I keep all this out in front of the public. After a lot of thought and discussion on the topic, I have decided that I will go about it chapter by chapter. And though things repeat, I will make notes of it as and how it comes to me. These names will repeat a lot, but I need to ensure I make notes of everything. The main thing that needs to be done here is every single piece of information has to be written down, no matter how small it is. Because today, when I sit back and think, I realize that something which might look small to me will have that connection elsewhere, where the issue can be a different and huge chapter all in itself. and my negligence or my thinking might keep us deprived from that source of information. What looks small to me can be a big source of information if it connects to the right channel of people. And what looks big to me will end up being nothing if the information goes into the hands of the wrong set of people. Let's keep the Ambani chapter aside for now and finish the discussion on the Dharma port. And once I am done with this discussion, I will raise all the points of the Ambani angle to this chapter so that there is no scope of confusion whatsoever, because my entire effort would go down the drain if confusion step in, and there would be no logical conclusion to anything when confusions step in. As I had told earlier, the Dharma port is that standing example which speaks a lot about the Adanis. Why do I feel so? Let me explain it here so that we all can come to some sort of conclusion on this. The Dharma port, which was under constant criticism for a lot of reasons during the tenure of the L&T and Tata's venture, for various different reasons, like it being a risk to a lot of environmental factors, and then also it would be huge risk to the turtles whose nesting breeding grounds are nearby, and the fight that was going on for a long time, where the organization that was involved in the fight also had faced a reverse case on them, and the people behind them managed to give it a different angle, suddenly went silent since 2014 without showing much interest in pursuing the case any further. If you are confused, let me clear the confusion. The organization that I am making a mention here is the Greenpeace. The turtle species that I am speaking about here is the olive ridley turtle. And the case I am talking about here is the Tata and Sons case, which was filed in the Delhi High Court, which claimed that the turtle versus Tata constituted defamation and violated trademark infringement. 2014 is the year Adani took over the port. Now, with these points in the backdrop, let's get to the issue and understand what all this is all about. Firstly, let me explain why this port is a very important port when it comes to a lot of concerns, both on the business angle and uh, how important a bridge is this port when the location of the port comes into the picture. The Dharma port is located between the Haldia and Paradip ports, located near the mineral belts of Odisha, Jharkhand and West Bengal, connected with a 62-kilometer railway line to Ringtal Link cabin, which connects Howrah to Chennai. This port also serves as gateway to Nepal, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and the entire geopolitical region, including Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, Papua New Guinea, Timor-Leste. Both Papua New Guinea and Timor-Leste are observers. The Adanis acquired the port in 2014, and since then there has been a lot more damage to the ecosystem, but nothing made out to the news. If you try talking to the locals around it, you will know how bad the situation is, and how since the time Adanis have taken control of the port is continuously acquiring the surrounding land with a vision. What they claim is to increase the production. But when the port was under the earlier management, the turtles were a little far away and were still safe to face any ill effects from the activities of the port. But since the time the port is under the control of the Adanis, the port is getting closer to the nesting grounds of the turtles. Now, no one will agree to this fact because there have been no voices raised on this issue, which could make its way out to the news. The one person who can answer a lot of questions on this topic is Dilip Ray, the owner of Mayfair Group of Hotels, the only politician from Odisha to be a part of the ministry of three different politicians, and a huge name who is believed to be involved in the Colgate scam. I'm not exactly sure on this because I will have a lot of work to do on this. because this eastern belt is fairly unexplored area, and there are a lot of factors that needs to be addressed before we actually find out what the real matter is. But the one thing that is for sure is that if this angle has to be explored and studied, the only other person who other than Ray can answer some questions and actually also play an important role in getting these matters out is a gentleman in politics, the man who is known to have given up all the material gains and is a very respected figure in the eyes of most politicians of the country, Sri Naveen Patnaik, the sitting CM of Odisha. Let me make this point once again. I am not raising any allegations or questions on anyone, but this Adani angle needs to come out to the light. And also, if the reports are to be believed, Gautam Adani is one person who believes to keep people in clutches, bonded labor camps. And this has been one of the huge reasons for his success. His style of work is very simple: find out the weakness, bank on it, have some evidence for it, if possible, or raise the speculation on the same. Then the man is totally in your control. I'm not sure on this too, but when I see the way things are happening, and as I said, that this Dharma port is an eye opener for people, all these statements that I have heard about this man unfortunately hints strongly to be true. Minaji, I would like to take a break here and
Yeah,
just
please.
add one point.
Yeah.
Add one point since it's Odisha, my state. Okay. And the gentleman mentioned here both Naveen Patnaik ji and Dilip Ray ji. I mean, I have huge respect for them. I have huge respect for them, and even Sushant hasn't mentioned anything maligning or something. He says that if anyone can throw light on the, uh, the port issue, the Dharma port issue, these are the two people, Dilip Ray and Sri Naveen Patnaik ji. Of course, there have been cases on them as well. I'm not sure about it. There might be political something, but yes, I just wanted to make my viewpoint clear so that I am not in any trouble later. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, when some locals, I will go back to reading now.
Yeah.
When some locals were asked on this, the locals said that since the time the Adanis have taken over, the soil holding capacity around the port area has drastically decreased. And Fani cyclone created havoc. The damage the Fani did was 10 times more than what it could do if the areas around the port were not exploited. And the locals, the environmentalists, the geographers fear that since Odisha has been a cyclone prone state, the situations will only get worse as the time passes. Because since the time Adanis have taken over the port, they are busy in acquiring lands around the port. And this means more damage. If people think I am against the development of my nation, then you are mistaken. No development happens when safety norms are not followed. And I will make sure that I will present facts as and how they come in front of me. I am an Indian first before anything else. And if anything has to come in the way of me being an Indian, then it's humanity. But the one thing I can vouch for is if I have to make a choice between my country and humanity, I would choose my country because without the motherland, there is no humanity. So, for all the masala and the attacks you would want to make on me, emotionally, mentally, and by targeting me in public, game on, people. I am not going to stop. Come what may. I will only stop once I get the results I aspire. Because for me, if you are damaging the society you are living in, because for me, if you are damaging the society you are living in, you have no rights to have any respect or a respectful position. There are a lot of factors that have been a curse on humanity, and no moral can stop me from getting to the roots of it. Knowing about what wrong is happening around me and exploring to see how can we turn tables round is my own personal choice. And no one has a right to make amends in this. Not my friends, nor my family, nor anyone else. Period. Please understand, guys, these people have done a lot of wrong to us. I have nothing against them, but when I am living through all this, see what all wrong they have done. Use your own logic and conclude. This time, do not fall prey to gossip. Do not fall prey to some shit that is being thrown at you. Whatever you see, hear, or read, try to get to understand it better than to react to it instantly. Often, there are a lot of hidden angles to most of the information that is being thrown at us, and it is up to us how we take it. I am writing all these lines in capital just to make you people understand the density of the situation and the condition we are in. We are in for a literal collapse if we do not hold back now and start asking questions. It's entirely up to you what choices you want to make. But remember one thing, it is already late and time is ticking away. There is no way this will get better on its own. We all have to work towards it. Else, there is no point. This will only get more and more dirtier. A handful of people decide our fate. This is not happening. I have a lot of questions to be asked on this chapter too, and to this person too. But I will make sure that there are a lot more eyes start seeing the truth and understand what is happening around them. I have my agenda streamlined to make sure that I keep all the facts out as and how I lay my hands on them, and I will present them making sure that everyone gets access to it. Now, the connection of Ambani's with the L&T and the classic example when one man can stand up ethically, tables do turn around. And no matter how powerful the person is, he can be taught a real tough lesson and bring him down on his knees. My God, I will have to keep making this statement over and over and over again, but I really do not mind. My fight is against the wrong people in the society. I have no personal enmity with anyone. I am writing this over and over and over again just because when I come out with my work, the first brand that will be stamped on my head is I am anti Ambani. I am ready and prepared for it. And remember these words I have spoken here. Every wrong eye will stare at me and try and put me down. Allegations one after the other will come on me, and people will give me all kinds of brands and names. But if that is the cost to pay for the truth to come out, for me, that is a very small price to pay. Let's get to the point. Now, the chapter that I'm going to discuss now is one chapter that rejuvenated my hopes in this journey. That yes, one man can make an impact. And the other name that comes here in this context is another visionary who probably I would say was like Bhishma, who got stuck in the wrong camp. If people know about the history, they would know who are the people I am talking about. If not, then let me unfold the facts onto you. The two people whom I am talking about here are number one, Mr. Anil Manibhai Naik. Mr. Anil Manibhai Naik, the chairman of L&T. Number two, Dr. Manmohan Singh, a mistreated visionary. This is what I would like to refer Dr. Singh as. All began in the early 90s when Mr. Naik faced the threat of L&T being taken over. There was a fight for this, and the front runners were number one, Dhirubhai Ambani, Reliance Industries. Number two, Kumar Mangalam Birla, chairman Aditya Birla Group. The year was 1999 when Mr. Naik successfully fought off the bids for L&T valued at rupees 5,000 crore, and it's his vision that L&T got transformed into a market giant with a market cap of rupees 1,70,000 crores. Let's begin from where all this started from. And yet again, here you will see the pattern of how these people have used the money from people, rotated people's money, played with the banks, and have reached to the position where they are today. If someone wants to get a tip on how you can cheat someone, these stories can be of great help. But luckily, it's not that easy. now because of some reforms that came in the banking systems. And yet again, the name that comes here in this context is Dr. Manmohan Singh, who played a major role in all this. What was the role of Dr. Manmohan Singh played in all this? I will get back to when that instance comes. There is a lot more to speak, and I have to make sure that I will do it in the right way. Because when I got to learn about all this and did my analysis around it, I was in a whole lot of confusion. And then I had to revisit all this again and then decide what I should be doing. Getting back to the current chapter at hand, let's start from where all this began. The roots, what got this crooked businessman into the L&T. Some of the information I gathered from public sources and some research I did, and the people I spoke to on this, all put together, have various stories to speak. And all this needs to be documented so that the people of India to understand how big a game was played with us and why have we not why have we to stand up and raise our voice and voice out loud in this chapter. Yes, you will learn that if you have the zeal to do it, you can do it alone without any support from anyone. But the one thing I need to mention here is that the man in the chapter had a strong position to back him. The man in this chapter had a strong position to back him up with, chairman of L&T. But the fight was not easy. Just to fill myself and the people around me with confidence that we can do this and we have it in us, I would put it this way. The person who is one of the main focus in this chapter was the chairman of L&T, the real decision maker, and we are citizens of India, the real decision makers. 1987 was the year when some apprehension broke out in L&T, when Manu Chavriya bought a 1% stake in the company. This man had a history of hostile takeovers, fearing which the then chairman, N.M. Desai, approached Dhirubhai Ambani for help. I hate it when it comes to caste. But the real fact here remains that N.M. Desai joined hands with Ambani because he was a Gujarati. The battle was very intense. Here, and Dhirubhai played his own enchanting game yet again. Manu had around 5% stakes, and Dhirubhai slowly and steadily started buying shares in L&T, and at the same time started investing in Dunlop. Let me make one point clear here, that this Manu Chabria too has his own filth attached with him. I will get to it later, because this person plays an integral part in the downfall of Vijay Mallya and is believed to be the one of the people who diverted Mallya and made sure he made some bad investments too. But that chapter does not include here. So once I am done with this chapter, I will start with that chapter and then see for yourself how many connections are there and how closely are all these interlinked. Now getting back to game, Dhirubhai played with the support of N.M. Desai in the next 2 years, 1987 to 88 to 1989 to 90. Had to mention it like this because what is told and spread out is that this was a game of 2 years. But no, it was actually 2 years, 8 months, and 12 days to be precise. Dhirubhai Ambani bought stakes worth 18.5%, approximately valued around rupees 190 crore back then, getting both of his sons, Mukesh and Anil, on board, parallelly investing in Dunlop, which Chabria had taken keen interest in. And here the deal, where played Ambani with his political support from Congress, made sure that Chabria was checkmated and he was out. L&T and Dhirubhai in this gap became the chairman of L&T. I would like to read this again, Minaji.
Yeah.
Parallelly investing in Dunlop, which Chabria had keen interest in, and here the deal, where played Ambani with his political support from Congress, made sure that Chabria was checkmated and he was out of L&T. And Dhirubhai in this gap became the chairman of L&T. The village myth that the snake bites the hand of the person who feeds it. सांप दूध पिलाने वाले को ही काट देता है. Though science has a different story to say, came true when NM Desai was kicked out of his own company. All was going good for the Ambanis, where in misusing his position as the chairman of L&T, he made L&T come into a credit line business to supply raw material to Reliance Industries, and the rotation game started. What was the game? Follow below to know. Ambani had used bank guarantees and bank receipts to ensure that he got the funds arranged, and had a group of his people from whom he managed to get the funds mobilized for once, and made sure that he had strong following for him to get the start he needed. And L&T had a strong treasury. During his tenure as the chairman, he made sure that all his business that were running took money from here, and he played with this in the stock market and also his other ventures, and the profit he made, he started adding it back slowly. If one report is to be believed, despite seeing his doom, the only reason Dhirubhai stuck on with L&T till late 2000 was because he had financial transactions pending to be settled to the tune of 1800 crores. Though there is nothing concrete to this, certain people do believe this is the real story. The Birlas and Ambanis were the Birlas and Ambanis were the front runners, and both had manipulated a lot of funds into their business as credit given to them from L&T, and the public money was used for their personal gains. This would continue forever if not for two people who came to apply brakes on Dhirubhai. If I sit back now and think on what would have happened if this brake was not applied to this charging bull, I conclude that Ambani would have enough money with him wherein he could purchase all the real estate in our country and yet have some billion left in his bank account and assets in cash too. The first person was Vishwanath Pratap Singh, VP Singh, who got LIC into the picture and started countering each and every move of this man, and made sure that he got the government angle back into the L&T by ensuring that he kept a tight check on Dhirubhai Ambani. And when his government collapsed and Dhirubhai was hoping to make a comeback, his dreams were shattered by Dr. Manmohan Singh, who started to question Ambani on why L&T was investing in RIL shares during his tenure. Though many people who are close to Dr. Singh say that Dr. Singh carefully made sure that all the questions he asked were direct, but the problems he created for Ambani was indirect attack. One thing my heart sometimes says, if Dr. Manmohan Singh had proper back support, he would have done a lot of great things to our country. And not to forget, it is Dr. Singh who stood with Narasimha Rao, and it was his strategy that got India back from a potential economical crisis, which could have ended making our country bankrupt. These crooked businessmen have used public money for a very long time now and continue to do so even to date. However, the intensity of this has decreased to a large extent now. This decision of VP Singh turned out to be the game changer as institutions came into the picture again, and Dr. Manmohan Singh silently ensured that Ambani could never gain back his upper hand. Now let's go to the real hero for L&T, Mr. Anil Manibhai Nayak, who was inducted as a board member in 1989. And if you want to have the exact picture of what Nayak did for LIC, I recommend reading another book. And the name of the book is The Nationalist, a biography of Mr. Nayak by Minhas Merchant. And the book launch event and the way the man Mr. Nayak, who comically took a dig on both the Ambanis and the Birlas, and how Mukesh Ambani was left searching for words in the presence of the Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, is out everywhere on public platforms for each of us to make references to. The reason for me to mention out the name of Devendra Fadnavis in capital letters is because the man Devendra Fadnavis, I have explained, his connections with some people who are troublemakers for the society. And Devendra Fadnavis is believed to be sharing a cordial relation with the Ambanis. Phew. Do you see through things now how deep all this is? It was our money that was rotated, and these people became big. The system had so many loopholes, and people like Mehta, 1992 Bombay Stock Exchange, Ambani, and others made the best use of it. The flaws in the banking system was the goose that laid golden eggs to these crooks, and these crooks used it to their best advantage. I am astonished and, as a matter of fact, believe that these crooks have attained the mastery in this subject of mind manipulation and finance rotation, and have managed to stay in the good books of everyone by satisfying everyone with whatever fancies them. And trusts and other philanthropic activities these people do is an image cleanser, just to ensure the public doesn't get alarmed and starts to take a tough stand. Mr. A.M. Naik deserves all the respect, and I feel we owe a toast to him for making sure that L&T remained how it was and eventually became Ambani free. These rich, bigger than name, dirtier the game. This, for good heaven's sake, has to stop. The brakes have to be applied. These people need to be taught a lesson, else the rich will get richer and the poor will continue to become more and more poor. This has to end, and these people should be exposed and handed over to the public to decide what kind of punishment, penalty these people deserve. Our legal systems should stop selling peanuts on the name of fines imposed. I'm sorry, I do not mean to defame the Indian law system or the Constitution of India, which for me is as sacred as our religious books, but till stringent measures are taken and we ensure that we have some strict fines and tight laws, there is no way this situation is going to change. We need a change, and we have to begin it ourselves. I humbly request every citizen of the country that we all have to come together and put an end to this. All this has been happening for years, and it was there right in front of our eyes. We never realized it. Now that things are out and the connections are getting established, we will only have ourselves to blame if we do not stand up and raise our voices against it. We have lost so many good people whose names were never heard of. The only reason they lost their life was because we were sleeping. We were deaf to hear out to real voices and blinded by the pomp of show of the media, which appears to be sold out today. We have to act and act now, else we will be late to actually do anything. To everyone who feels that it is not possible for a lone man to fight against this, then the L&T angle that we just discussed shows that yes, it is possible. It's only important on what direction we choose and what are the choices we make. Because when one Mr. Naik could do it, anyone else also can. It only depends on getting a start, or rather just start, and everything else will eventually fall in place. But the factors that we need to take care of are: 1. We need to stay strong and prepared for backlashes. 2. We need to have that in us to turn deaf to these blind followers who will spread filth over filth on us. 3. We need to have it in us to know and understand that we have to stand for ourselves, no one else will. 4. We need to have that sense of judgment. We need to have that sense of judgment as to where we are going wrong, why we are going wrong, and how can we get things back. There is no need for you to necessarily react, because this is yet another diversion. I'm sorry, Minaji, I left one line, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to have that sense of judgment as to where we are going wrong, why we are going wrong, and how can we get things back. 5. The only person who you can correct, analyze, or make comments and judgments on is you, yourself. And if anyone else is doing it to you, there is no need for you to necessarily react, because this is yet another diversion to deviate you from what you are doing. 6. Be aware and alert of all possible ways that can be used to silence you or deviate you from your track. 7. Be open and vocal about everything. Now, this is the most important amongst all the points, because the only way we can break their flow is by getting the things out, talking about it, spreading a word about it, making people aware of it. Till it is behind the closed doors, they would not really care about what is happening. And unless you get it out, there is no way we can make inroads or take them off guard. 8. Be prepared for literally everything. 9. Every day is a new day and you have to continue from where you stopped with a fresh hope. This also is equally important, as this is not a small fight. This is a huge one and might go on for a few years at least, because the people who we are against are common people, yes, but have a status in the society today. And since this status came with time, it won't go just like that instantly. The basic nature of human mind, which in instances like this I feel like cursing, is we do not take anything right. We take time to get accustomed to it. Now this applies here too. They did not become famous overnight. So when we are going to show them the mirror, we cannot expect to see changes overnight. Minaji, I think I will stop here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope everything was clear and
Yes, absolutely.
there was no
Thank you so
confusion.
much, Deepti, for
Okay.
taking your time and coming every
Yes,
time,
Minaji.
for sessions.
No, I would like to repeat. I mean, since I know both from close angles, our Chief Minister Ravin Patnaik ji and Dilip Ray ji. Both are exceptional gentlemen and who have done a lot for building the state, actually.
Yeah.
Being a citizen of the Odisha, I would like to give my personal opinion on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
also,
please.
see the kind of money he has donated to the sports people without showing off about it.
He
And it's
has
because
done
of
a
that that
lot.
many of the people came back with with the medals.
Exactly. He has revived the game of hockey for India. I mean, he
Yes.
sponsored the, yeah.
And he never
He has
spoke
done.
about it. He never spoke
He
about it.
believes. No, he doesn't believe in speaking. He is just. I mean, has he has written that he has given away material gains and all. And even his father, Biju Patnaik, he is even a more phenomenal figure. I mean, he was a pilot, and I mean, if everyone can Google, he was a very
Yeah.
legendary figure who has no criticism or no opposition from anyone till date. That is
Yeah.
one record one can say.
Also, Deepti, some more names are soon going to come out. Bollywood names, according to the media. See, they're all being, they're all on the target of the NCB. So let's expect more fireworks tomorrow.
Yes, Miraji, and let us all support NCB. I mean, it's so
Yeah.
sad what our media is doing and what this. I mean, the lawyers are supporting the criminals,
Yeah.
saying that they are innocent till proven guilty. So how can they be
Deepti,
kept in the
you
jail?
remember,
But Minaji,
you remember.
I will ask one.
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
Yes.
so if that is the case, then why didn't they come out and say in case of Jia Khanda and Sushant too that it's homicide till proven otherwise?
Yeah.
The
Also,
justice was,
see, yeah. Also, you remember, you were the target of many lawyers when
of
it came to the
course,
case, Sri Devi case.
of
So,
course, of
how can you ask
course,
such a question? You
yes, of
yourself
course,
were a target. So,
lot.
Samir is also a target. So,
I have
these
been the
lawyers
target
are
of,
bought and their souls are
I,
sold to the devil.
not only lawyers, Minaji,
Yeah,
we have, I mean, everyone who is connected to this field, be it from the media, be it from the forensics, be it from the medical field, or
yeah,
be it from anyone. Because these people, as we are going through the drives, this nexus has hands in everything, right?
yeah,
Even
yeah,
some business names that he has mentioned, they have their hands in everything from, your toothpaste to, I mean, uh, big businesses like manufacturing automobiles and iron and steel industries, petrochemicals and all that. So they are everywhere and
yeah,
media is in their hands.
yeah.
So it is not a big deal for them to buy some support online.
Yeah.
Because online is where the truth is being, it has not yet been taken control of. There were many trials. There were many trials to get the internet under control.
Yes.
But thankfully till now, they have not been able to. At least we have one media wherein we can actually talk about the truths which the mainstream media doesn't want to show. For reasons best known to them.
Even, see, when here, since you mentioned that point, here I would like to tell you viewers that what now Deepti said is so true, because see, regarding the Aryan case, Khan case and Shah Rukh, what happened today, India Today shamelessly, they did a complete sob story about Shah Rukh and his son and how he was feeling for him and how they were crying and the kind of jail food and all that. Did they once think about what Sushant's father underwent when he was brutally murdered? And when the father only saw the body at the cremation, did Shah Rukh Khan cry at that time? Did Salman Khan cry? Did Amir Khan cry? None of the Khans cried. And only this guy is in jail and they're feeling so upset. India Today should stop this nonsense. They say they are the mainstream media. The kind of nonsense they spun about Arnab, they should be, kicked out of the media agency for this. It's this kind of media that is, making everybody ashamed. Watching it, I felt like puking. The kind of, this thing they're showing to the Khans. A person like Samir Wankade is giving his life. He's being attacked. He's being followed. He's being chased. His wife is being maligned. His sister and the father are being maligned. Can't they have a holiday in Maldives? Do they have to take the permission of Mahavika Sagari for a holiday in Maldives? As the Maldives is so far away, you can go on an ordinary budget to Maldives. What are they talking about? All this nonsense.
No, they are. If they have to criticize or attack someone, they will criticize everything from the way their hair is brushed to everything. They won't leave and they won't have any logic. I have faced that. And then they have also started attacking his wife, Mrs. Wankade, saying that they have kept a grudge because she's not getting offers. Come on, she is a great Marathi actress herself, and it's not that everyone wants.
Did he depend on her job?
No, it's not that. It's not that everyone wants to be in Bollywood, right? She is a respected heroine in Marathi, from what I know, in Marathi language.
See, another thing, also Deepti, another thing, don't forget the fact, the body of Sushant, his leg was broken, his face was bashed, his neck was squeezed, and there were injection marks all over his body. And that father had nobody to cry for him. And this father, just because this, what do you call this spoilt brat who indulges in drugs is in jail, the father and mother and the whole Bollywood fraternity is upset. All of them should be pulled up and the whole mess should be cleaned up. Then only will our next generation live in peace.
Actually, they will be upset, right? Because if
they're not dead,
someone,
they're not dead.
If someone like, they will be upset because if someone like Shah Rukh Khan, he's a superstar, right? Someone like Shah Rukh Khan's son can be taken to task, then they are aware that very soon their number will come as well. Because they're all into the same activities.
Yeah.
They are afraid for themselves. So now,
see, what is happening, Deepti, now what is happening is karma has come a full circle. Now they are all broken up. They are lonely. They don't have anybody to run to. All these dons are escaping to some other place. Now they are alone in front of justice. And the people will not forgive them.
Yes, and I hope karma acts even more faster, and because after the cleansing happens, then we have to concentrate on building the nation again.
Yes.
Bring in the reforms, implementing them, building the nation. See, our country is a very great country. It's a blessed country. We have all sorts of resources. Yeah. Everything from mineral resources to human resources, all sorts of natural resources. It's a beautiful country. People are not realizing that. But yes, we are ourselves to blame, Minaji.
Yeah.
As Sushant says, we are ourselves to blame.
Yeah.
If we still go ahead and once the situation improves, the COVID situation improves, and we still throng to the movie theaters whenever a movie comes, okay, and we start watching IPL, discussing, and we get them back into the business, then only we have to blame ourselves.
Yeah.
And let us not forget that these people are in such a position above us, despite being wrong, is because they are efficient. We have a casual attitude. They learn from their mistakes. We never learn from our mistakes or from anyone others mistakes, even if it is staring right in front of our eyes. But they learn from their mistakes. That's why they took control of the media. From the revolts and freedom struggles that have happened in the past, they have seen that if people get together, then it's their downfall. That's why they took the media.
Yeah. You mean to say, Deepti, that people don't know this media? People are able to differentiate which media is bought and which is sold and which is true.
It's now, Minaji. It's now that they are coming to know. It's now that they are coming to know. Trust me. I mean, I was into Srideviji's case since 2018, right? I knew about all this. I mean, the colors of Bollywood people that is coming out now and the colors of other business people. I have seen this. I have experienced it during my journey. From 2018 onwards, the obstacles we faced. I mean, lots of games that were played. So we have experienced it firsthand. So, but I couldn't tell this to anyone. Because people were, at that time, the image of the Bollywood, the image of the cricketers, the image of the media was entirely different. People were following it blindly. Of course, some channels were getting exposed, but overall, even now, there's just a few some portion of the people who are on YouTube. We need to, there are other people who will only believe if it is shown on the mainstream channel. There are many people who will only believe things if they are shown on the mainstream channel, no matter whatever nonsense is shown, that is immaterial. So on this front, we have to cover a lot of ground. That's why I keep saying that your channel has to reach millions and millions of subscribers. So
we wish it would happen that way, but see, even like I told you, among the viewers, some of them are very genuine, some of them are very sincere about the fights, that the mission that we have. But some of them are also. So even we cannot trust everybody, Deepti. See, that's also happening side by side. We can continue because our voice is trying to reach out. How many people will take it? That is entirely up to their character, their conscience. And it is their duty to spread it, not remain quiet and just listen and go.
Of course, people have to start talking about it and make others aware. I'm sure that most of the viewers of your channel have started doing that. There are others also.
You remember, Deepti, someone tweeted to you saying that, see, not many people are watching, the diaries or Mina's channel.
Why is it not getting more?
Yeah. So here, let me just clarify to the viewers. I'm not looking at numbers. I'm looking at intelligent people who have intelligent things to share and to share it with their friends and spread the truth about what's happening in India. We don't want to see a bulk. You can get millions of people, but if those millions of people are not doing the same, there's no value. But here we have very select people, who are fighting along with us. So then it becomes what you call a purposeful mission.
Exactly. I want to tell something to the viewers. If there is someone who is regularly watching this coverage of the tribe contents and all, then that means that you are concerned. You are a concerned citizen yourself. You want to know what is happening. That's the reason that you are taking out time to watch this. So such are the kind of people that this truth needs to reach to. Okay, and gradually, I borrowed this from Dhruva, this saying that a seed grows into a tree in silence. It doesn't make noise. When a seed grows into a tree, it doesn't make noise. It's only when it's cut and when it falls that there's a noise. At the time of destruction, there's a noise.
Yeah.
But slowly this truth will seep into everyone's consciousness if you people make the effort to talk about it wherever you go, even to your mates, even to your housemates, or people coming to work for you, the laundryman, or anyone.
Yes.
It doesn't take much of an effort. If you passionately feel about it and if you passionately talk about it, people will listen.
Yes.
Because Sushant has passionately, expressed himself. Not everyone has this ability, Meenaji.
Yes.
I mean, even we had people who have sacrificed their lives, like Sri Devi ji and Divya Bhatti. They haven't written in such detail. This is, we getting access to such detailed, experience of such person who wanted to discover the truth. It is what do you say? It is very valuable. People should actually value it and take as many positives from it as they can.
Yeah. That's why I'm very grateful to the viewers and to you, Deepti, because see, you are doing this, voluntarily, and you are doing it taking so much of your energy. I know that you're busy traveling and doing so many other things as well, but you have dedicated this much time for Sushant Singh's voice. So that itself is such a great thing that you're doing.
I have something. What do you say? If you find a diamond, you would naturally want it to, preserve it to the best of its right.
Yeah.
So, I find it nothing less than it is, the most precious thing that I have laid my hands on.
Yeah.
And it sort of becomes my duty. Since, as some people say, I have been chosen to, get access to this work, then it becomes a kind of responsibility, moral responsibility to share it with the people because he has written it for the people.
Yes.
So,
absolutely. So thank you, Deepti. And we'll wait for another session from you. Good night.
Sure.
From our viewers and from me.
Sure. Good night to you too. Yeah.
Good night.
Take care.